All right, let's just dive right in. You hear it everywhere. AI is going to change everything, especially when it comes to white-collar work. But listen, this isn't some sci-fi movie set decades from now. We're talking about real, tangible shifts happening today, and more importantly, what you can actually do to stay ahead of the game.
So, what is AI, really? Is it just a smarter version of Excel, a tool? Or is it something more, like a new teammate? It's a great question. But before we can even get to that cool, collaborative future, we've got to face a much more immediate, and let's be honest, a much bigger problem with AI in the workplace right now.
Yep, you heard that right. For a whole lot of companies, generative AI is actually a massive liability. Its number one problem? It has this nasty habit of hallucinating. And that's just a fancy way of saying it makes stuff up. This happens when you feed it messy, contradictory, or just plain bad data, and that creates a huge, huge risk for any business trying to use it.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll tackle that core AI knowledge problem. Then we'll walk through how your role is going to evolve, first into a curator, then into an orchestrator. After that, we'll talk about the one skill you absolutely need to build. We're calling it brain capital. And finally, we'll look at the huge economic shifts this is all causing.
So what is this big problem I'm talking about? Well, it's got a name: knowledge chaos. And you need to remember that term, because it is the single biggest roadblock stopping businesses from getting any real value out of AI today.
Just imagine a company's brain. Now imagine that brain is scattered in a million pieces across 1,000 different digital junk drawers. You've got crucial info in old SharePoint sites, customer data in a CRM from 10 years ago, product specs in some forgotten PDF. It's a total mess. So what happens when you tell an AI to go learn from that? Well, it gets confused and it starts spitting out unreliable, inconsistent, and sometimes just flat-out wrong answers. That's knowledge chaos.
But here's the interesting part. This problem, this knowledge chaos, is actually creating a massive opportunity. It's giving rise to the first major new role for knowledge workers, the AI Knowledge Curator. And believe me, this isn't just a new line on your resume. It's a completely new way of thinking about your job. Your job isn't going to be about just finding information anymore. Nope, you're becoming the gatekeeper of truth. You're the architect of the entire information system that the AI depends on. Think of yourself as the human firewall, making absolutely sure that only the cleanest, most accurate, most verified information gets through to the machine. So what do you actually do as a curator? Well, it really comes down to three things. First, you're a data detective, auditing everything to see what's true and what's not. Second, you're a bridge builder, breaking down those digital walls and pulling everything together into one single source of truth. And third, you're the compliance guru, making sure everything follows the rules, because one tiny mistake in this area could literally cost a company billions.
Now, becoming a master curator, that's not the end goal. It's the launchpad. The skills you build there, understanding data, seeing the big picture, demanding quality, all of that is what sets you up for the next big leap, which we're expecting to see in the late 2020s. This is when you stop just curating knowledge and you start orchestrating intelligence.
I love this quote because it just nails the entire shift. For pretty much our entire careers, we've been operators. We operate software, we operate spreadsheets, we operate tools. The future of your work and your income is about stepping back from the keyboard and becoming the conductor of an entire orchestra of AI agents that do all that operating for you.
Let's make this really clear. The operator, that's us today, is in the weeds. We do the searching, the analyzing, the coding. The orchestrator, on the other hand, works at a much higher level. You're not doing the task, you're defining the mission. You set the business goals, and then you oversee this whole ecosystem of AI agents, blending their raw power with your human creativity to do things that were never possible before.
Okay, so we've got these two new roles, the curator and the orchestrator. The big question is, how on earth do you prepare for that? Well, the answer comes down to building one single foundational asset. It's a concept called brain capital.
Brain capital is your ultimate competitive advantage in the AI era. You got to think of it this way. As AI gets better and better at all the logical, analytical, number crunching stuff, your value and your paycheck is going to come from the skills that are uniquely human. The skills that an algorithm just can't touch. That's your brain capital. It's literally the currency of the new economy.
So how do you start investing in your brain capital right now? You focus on these 5 areas. Things like high-level emotional intelligence, solving messy ethical problems, being a leader that motivates people, communicating with real empathy, and thinking creatively about the future. And these aren't just buzzwords. These are muscles you need to start exercising every single day.
Now let's zoom out for a second, because this shift from operator to orchestrator isn't just about your personal career path. This is a transformation so huge, it's going to completely reshape our entire economy. You have to understand the scale of what's happening.
First, just look at the numbers. McKinsey projects that this AI revolution is going to unlock up to $4.4 trillion in economic value every single year. That is a mind-blowing amount of new wealth and opportunity, and it's going to be concentrated in those high-wage, high-skill sectors like R&D, engineering, and creative strategy.
And at the same time, we're about to see these insane productivity gains. In the fields that are most exposed to AI, something like 12% of all the hours we currently work could just be automated. That efficiency is what's forcing us to completely rethink the way we structure our workdays.
And this leads to maybe one of the most exciting possibilities. Get this. A whopping 93% of executives at companies that are already going all in on AI, they're in favor of a 4-day work week. Why? Because the productivity jump is so big, we could get the same amount of work done, or maybe even more, in way fewer hours. This is what it looks like when people with high brain capital are super leveraged by AI.
So this timeline really ties it all together, right? Right now, we are operators. The immediate next step, the near future, is to become that AI knowledge curator, cleaning up the mess. That foundation allows you to evolve into the orchestrator later this decade, managing AI teams. And if you look way out, all this integration could lead to unbelievably efficient, even sustainable ways of doing business.
So look, the big takeaway here is not to sit around worrying if AI is coming for your job. That's the wrong question. The right question is, how are you going to evolve with it? The roles are changing, the skills are changing, and the future absolutely belongs to the orchestrators. So let me ask you, what's the very first step you're going to take to start building your brain capital?